The Wise Turtle and Her Stories. Dona Torcuata, a century-old turtle whose shell was a living map of past adventures, was the heart of the forest. Her stories, woven with the wisdom of the centuries, were like melodies that lulled the animals. With her deep, gravelly voice, she described meadows bathed in the golden light of dusk, crystal-clear rivers that meandered between ancient trees, and forests where life flourished in an explosion of colors. The dream of a lost paradise. The deer, with his big, longing eyes, had always been an avid listener to Dona Torcuata's stories. One day, after hearing one of her most vivid tales, he could not contain his enthusiasm and asked her if they could visit this wonderful place. His proposal lit a flame of hope in the hearts of the other animals. The Great Migration. The news spread like wildfire through dry grass. Soon, a large caravan of animals formed, eager to set off on the journey to the lost paradise. There were everything from agile squirrels, their eyes shining with curiosity, to lazy bears, dragging their bulky bodies with renewed energy. The Turbulent River. The first obstacle was a mighty river, whose waters roared defiantly. Smaller animals, such as mice and shrews, clung to the branches of the trees, frightened by the force of the current. Dona Torcuata, with her characteristic calm, showed them how to build a raft with logs and vines, guiding them all safely to the other shore. The Ascent of the Mountain. After the river, the caravan faced an imposing mountain, whose peaks were lost in the clouds. The climb was slow and exhausting. The stronger animals, such as buffaloes and bears, led the way, while the weaker ones leaned on each other. The icy breeze blowing on the summit reminded them of the fragility of life and the grandeur of nature. The Unforgiving Desert. The journey through the desert was a test of endurance. The scorching sun burned the skin, and thirst was a constant torture. The animals sought shelter under the scarce shade, but the heat was unbearable. Dona Torcuata, who in her youth had crossed similar deserts, shared with them her memories of oases and springs, but the reality was very different. Upon reaching the place promised by Dona Torcuata, the caravan finally arrived at its destination after days of walking. Instead of the lush landscape described by Dona Torcuata, they found a small town with its brick houses and paved streets. The disappointment was a hard blow for everyone. Dona Torcuata, embarrassed, tried to explain that the place had changed a lot over time, because she had been there when she was little and would soon be 150 years old. But the animals, tired and wounded, were not willing to accept her excuses. The trust they had placed in her had been broken. The animals' reflection. The animals gathered together to reflect on what had happened. They realized that they had placed too many expectations on Dona Torcuata's words and had forgotten to trust their own instincts. The value of friendship. Despite their disappointment, the animals did not let themselves be overcome by discouragement. The shared experience had brought them closer together, strengthening the bonds of friendship they had forged during the trip. Respect for nature. The journey had been a hard lesson about the changing nature of the world. The animals understood that landscapes evolve over time and that it is not always possible to find the paradise one seeks. The importance of truth. Dona Torcuata's lie had generated great distrust. The animals learned that honesty is essential to building strong and lasting relationships. Hope reborn. Despite everything, the animals did not lose hope. They knew that the world was vast and that there were still many places to explore. They decided to continue their journey, each with their own dreams and desires. The legacy of Dona Torcuata. Dona Torcuata, despite her mistake, remained a respected figure in the forest. Her story served as a lesson to future generations, reminding them of the importance of truth, friendship, and adapting to change.